If Muslims are really sincere about peace with the Jews, they must make a fatwa by the top leaders of Islam, whether it's in Saudi Arabia, in Egypt, in Iran, in all the Muslim world. They must issue a fatwa saying that any reference to killing Jews or calling them apes and pigs does not apply today to the Jews of today. It only applies to the 7th century. If that fatwa is issued, the Arab-Israeli conflict will be solved.
The main conflict here is the very existence of the Jewish people, of the Jewish soul on the Israeli land.
فأنتم لم تعادوا اليهود لأنهم مجرد بشر يأكلون ويشربون، لا، وإنما نحن نعاديهم لأنهم أعداء لله.
In a way, you might say the question of anti-Semitism and the Jewish-Arab conflict is a chicken and egg conflict. Is there a conflict because there are some innate anti-Semitic attitudes within Islam, and that's why they can't tolerate the presence of a Jewish state among them? Or would you say that there's a political conflict, that is, there's a piece of territory that's being fought over, and because the Jews are holding on to a territory that the Arab culture desires, the Palestinian desires, that generates anti-Semitic feelings? It's really hard to parse that, right? It's really the classic chicken and egg conflict, but certainly the net result is that the argument gets framed in anti-Semitic terms.
بديدان طفيلية في البحر تأكل نوع من الحلزون ثم تسكن في الصدفة. لن نسمح لأحد أن يسكن أصدافنا. فلسطين بلادنا واليهود كلابنا. فلسطين بلادنا واليهود كلابنا. فلسطين بلادنا واليهود كلابنا. People are dying, children, women, elderly. I don't know what asking we can do.
A lot of the critics of Israel are really genuine. They really believe in what they're saying. They believe that if we just give them a piece of land here, just move out of Gaza, move back to the borders of pre-67 war, they sincerely believe it. I don't believe it because I lived in Gaza before the 67 war, and my father was killed in the conflict and the jihad against Israel. And that also all happened before the 67 war and before the occupation of the West Bank and Gaza.
مدوا لنا الأيادي للحق والجهاد. لعمرك إني أرى مصرعي ولكني أسرع إليه الخطى. لعمرك هذا ممات الرجال ومن رام موت الفداء فدا. فكيف اصطباري لكيد اليهود؟
قدام نفديك يا شهيد. انتوا ليش بتعملوا هيك مثلا؟
هيك
عشان ايش؟
عشان اليهود.
عشان اليهود، ليش هم يطخوا علينا؟
انتم حيوانين.
The hate-filled media in the Arab world is most disturbing when seeing the effect it has on the children.
These children are poisoned. They are given no choice. They're given no choice to accept Israel as a neighbor. They're taught that their religion, that Islam, demands the destruction of Israel. And this, by the way, in their school books as well. Palestinian school books define the conflict with Israel not only as nationalistic, but as a ribat. They say, you must destroy Israel for Islam because Israel is on Islamic land. And therefore you have a religious imperative, and the school books say that this ribat, this war against Israel, will continue until resurrection. Not until there's a peace treaty, not until there's negotiations. This is an eternal war for the destruction of Israel. This is the message that children are being brought up on.
We must stop the propaganda to which Palestinian children are being exposed. These children deserve an education that instills respect for life and peace instead of glorifying death and violence.
Hillary Clinton, at a press conference, with the Palestinian Media Watch in the Senate last year, spoke out and totally condemned this. She called this education profoundly poisoning the minds of Palestinian children. And I agree with her completely.
That must be a priority for all people who care about children, who care about the kind of peace, stability, safety, and security that Israel deserves to be guaranteed.
Because it's intrinsic in Muslim scriptures to want to kill Jews wherever you find them.
لا تقوم الساعة حتى يقاتل المسلمون اليهود فيقتلهم المسلمون حتى يقول الحجر والشجر يا مسلم يا عبد الله هذا يهودي ورائي فاقتل ونذكر أمتنا العربية والإسلامية قادة وشعوبا مفكرين وطلابا نذكرهم بأن فلسطين وأن المسجد الأقصى لا يحرر عبر المؤتمرات ولا عبر القرارات الدولية ولكنه يحرر عبر البندقية.
There are daily shows in the Arab world. They're saying it from the pulpits of mosques. They're saying it with full force on Arab TV every day.
يا الله يا الله احصي اليهود عددا واقتلهم بددا ولا تغادر منهم أحدا.
أصبح الموت عند الشعب الفلسطيني صناعة تجيده النساء، تجيده كل من في هذه الأرض، يجيده الشيوخ، يجيده المجاهدون ويجيده الأطفال. لذلك شكلوا دروعا بشرية من النساء والأطفال والشيوخ والمجاهدين ليتحدوا بذلك آلة القصف الصهيونية، وكأنهم يقولون للعدو الصهيوني إننا نحرص على الموت كما تحرصون على الحياة.
You need to understand that in our media, in our teaching, you know, they present them, they eat children and they drink their blood, the Palestinian children, they kill children. And when I walked in the street, I found them a human being. I did not found them angels. I did not found them evil. I just found them a human being. All they want and all their dreams is just to exist, is just to live in peace with their neighbors. They just want to go to coffee shop, they want to go to work, they want to live, they want to love.
The Arab states must recognize that the Arab Peace Initiative was an important beginning, but not the end of their responsibilities. The Arab-Israeli conflict should no longer be used to distract the people of Arab nations from other problems. Instead, it must be a cause for action to help the Palestinian people develop the institutions that will sustain their state, to recognize Israel's legitimacy, and to choose progress over a self-defeating focus on the past.
The progress of the Arab world will not happen until the Arab-Israeli conflict is over. The way Islam is taught today, the way the Arab world media is behaving today, and the way mosques are operating today, it's almost impossible to reach peace between Arabs and Jews. That doesn't mean I don't have hope.
The only way we will have peace is if we eliminate those impediments to peace. Now, there is no greater impediment to peace than teaching Palestinian children that they have to destroy Israel because God wants it.
We need to focus on peace education replacing hate education.
I'm speaking because I love my people. Arab kids don't need jihad, they need jobs. Arab kids don't need hatred, they need hope. They need education. They need to look at other people of different religions as an opportunity to learn something from others, not an opportunity to kill others. If you want to compete with Israel, you can do it. Compete in the educational field, in the innovation field. Let's not compete with the Jews in the killing fields.
Everyone who's serious about peace understands that unless the Palestinians change the way their people are being taught and brought up, there is no chance for peace in the next generation.
We're not saying don't negotiate. We're not saying the Palestinians are not entitled to land. We're not saying they're not entitled to a state. We're saying that the first step is peace education, because only with peace education will we have peace.
If Muslims are really sincere about peace with the Jews, they must make a fatwa by the top leaders of Islam, whether it's in Saudi Arabia, in Egypt, in Iran, in all the Muslim world. They must issue a fatwa saying that any reference to killing Jews or calling them apes and pigs does not apply today to the Jews of today. It only applies to the 7th century. If that fatwa is issued, the Arab-Israeli conflict will be solved.